Welcome to the Story a Day podcast. This is Julie Duffy, encouraging you to be a writer today, not someday. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Julie from the Story a Day podcast here. We are a little under a week away from the opening of Story a Day September 2021. And I really want to encourage you to think about joining us. Even if you don't think of yourself particularly as a short story writer, even if you are currently working on a novel, I want you to encourage you to join us at Story a Day this month because of the energy that will be surrounding the site and the prompts, which will let you try all kinds of stuff, and you never know when that's going to come in handy. I've talked before about how my 100-word story project 1 year yielded all kinds of stuff, from short stories to a whole new climax for my novel, which people ended up saying was their favourite part. Once I, expanded it and put it in situ, it was the most powerful part of that whole novel because it started off in such a concise, compressed, concentrated form of a 100-word story. I heard from somebody this week who, despite the fact that she's busy working on revisions for a novel, is going to take part in Story a Day, setting her own rules as follows. On weekends, she's going to write a short story as a kind of refresher, a amuse-bouche, sorbet for her writing, to just keep things fun while she goes through the process of revising this big, complicated thing that is a novel. She's going to keep writing some fun stuff at the weekends. Not that revision can't be fun, it can be fun, but you know what I mean. So one of the things that happens when I talk to people about Story a Day a lot, and people will say, oh yeah, I've been following you for years, and I always say this is the year I'm going to take part in the challenge. And some of those people do, and some of those people don't. And some of the reasons I hear, apart from the one of, I don't really like short stories, which I think I've covered for you. You can use Story a Day to write backstories for your novel. You can write individual incidents for your memoir. You can use each day's prompt just to push you in a little bit of a different direction, or you can simply come to the blog and post, well, I didn't write about this prompt, but I wrote about something else, and just know that there are all these other people writing along with you. One of the things people think is that they can't find time. And I've been preaching about this for years. You don't find time, you make time. And some people say they can't finish anything. They don't know what to write about, or they can't finish. And they find that discouraging. So yesterday I recorded a little live video on YouTube, which is up there archived actually at the blog. So I'll put links to both those places in the show notes. And this was all about using the short story framework to get you from the beginning to the end of the short story without getting lost in the middle, and crucially, without your story becoming bloated. And I had a moment of clarity during that little live chat that I did, which I'm really glad I was recording, because I had a real moment of clarity on why stories can spiral and become bigger and bloated and end up not getting you towards the end, but away from the end of the story. So go and watch that one. If this is a problem that ever plagues you, that you start writing a short story and it just seems to grow and grow and grow and grow, I think I've nailed one of the reasons why. So follow the link to the live in the notes there and see if you agree with me. If you can't finish, that might be one of the reasons. But the other reasons that you might not be able to finish a story could be that you haven't done it very much. And there's nothing quite like putting an ending on a story, for teaching you how to shape a story. I'm going to be sharing some feedback from some of the Story a Day superstars this week at the Story a Day blog, and you'll hear from them that just the you'll see in their faces just the happiness and chill that comes from turning up for your writing and doing it over and over again. There's nothing quite like doing the work to teach you how to do the work. And I know that sounds annoying, but I can't really prove it to you unless you join us. Another thing people will tell me about why they can't possibly do their writing is that they can't focus. And I'm not going to pretend that can come easily. It's just something that you have to decide to do. You have to decide that you can take this time for your writing. And I will tell you that the reason most people can't do that is they have this nagging voice in their head, which anybody who wants to pursue anything creative tends to have. And it's the voice that says, "Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are to take time away from the people who need you, to take time away from activities that could be earning you money, and to treat that time seriously, and to ask us to take this scribbling that you do seriously?" It's a mean voice. It's the voice of insecurity, and it's not your voice. It's not your real authentic self. It's the voice of generations of parents worrying about whether their children are going to be able to make a living in the world. It's the voice of everyone who wants to protect you, but doing it on a very surface level. Because we are not just that bottom layer of Maslow's pyramid of needs or hierarchy of needs. We're not just about food, shelter, water. There comes a point where we really, to be ourselves, we really need that self-actualization part right up at the top of the pyramid. To be happy, we want to be pursuing the thing that makes us uniquely us. And the funny thing about writing is the more you allow yourself to do it, the less selfish you start to feel. Because yes, it's about being uniquely you, and it's about your unique need to sit down and express yourself and stay sane by getting the thoughts out of your head, or whatever your reason for writing is. But the more you do it and the more you hang out with other writers, the clearer it becomes that we're doing this for each other. Sharing stories makes us more empathetic. It allows us to live lives we could never otherwise live. And when you hang out with other writers, you hear it from them all the time that they are just, life is easier when they're writing. And it's not even just about our feelings of being better. And it's not even just about readers being more empathetic. Sometimes someone needs a particularly well-worded phrase, whether they are scared or mourning or about to try something new. Your ability as somebody who has a facility for words, your ability to send them a note saying something well expressed can make a huge difference. And it's not the kind of thing that's going to happen if you're not writing regularly. If you're not using your writing muscles, they're going to atrophy. And when the day comes that you really wish you could sit down and write a letter to someone who needs to know they're cared about, that's going to be so much easier if you are limbered up, if your writing muscles have been being used all the time. And I know this sounds weird, but I so many times I hear from people, just heard from somebody this week, they were writing a sympathy card And they just, it felt good to be able to find the right words. Because sometimes if we can't find the right words, it gets awkward and we say nothing at all. And I have never heard from anyone who was bereaved in my adult life who didn't want connection and who didn't want people to reach out to them. Nobody wants silence in that situation. But as the person on the other side of that equation, it can be awkward. But if you have a facility for words, if you are able to express yourself, and this has happened in my own life too. I wrote a note to somebody once just telling them, a kind thought. And not only did that person thank me, their husband thanked me, it changed their day, it changed their week, and it made them realize how much of an impact they were having when they didn't even realize it. And it all came down to the fact that I may be tongue-tied if we met in conversation. I might be a little awkward at a party, but with a pen in my hand, I can express myself because I constantly do that. And if you're not writing, if that's your medium, if that's your comfort zone, being able to express yourself on the page, and you're not doing it somehow because it's unusual in your circle for people to write, and people make you feel bad because you think you're somehow better than them because you like books, this is not something that we can allow. Who do you think you are to spend your time writing? You think you're a writer, and I think you are too. If you need any support in that, I encourage you to come over to storyaday.org. Think about joining our Superstars group, which is a year-round community of intelligent, striving, working, fun writers. We have parents, we have non-parents, we have young people, we have less young people, we have males, females, non-binary, every shade of person you can think of in our community, more or less. And everybody experiences the same thing. Everybody has good days. Everybody has days when they need people to go, yeah, get on with it. You can read about writing all you like. You can angst about writing all you like. But when are you going to show up and do the work? I think maybe it should be during Story A Day September. And I think maybe the Superstars group can help you. Or maybe just the act of making that commitment and showing up at the blog every day is going to make all the difference to you. I don't know. You can decide. I have lots of resources here for you. So you can get whatever help you need at whatever stage you're in. And that's what I have for you this week. I'm not going to record a writing prompt on the podcast this week because Wednesday's writing prompt over at the site gives you a recorded message from me. It's a video and an audio, and it's a taste of the kind of content I put together for the Superstars and Challenge Plus people during the challenge. Information about which will pop up all over your screen when you get there. So I'm going to direct you over to that writing prompt. The link is in the notes. It's all about changing your point of view, not you personally, but your characters, and hopefully that will give you a little pep talk, a little encouragement. I'm doing lots and lots of live stuff this week as we warm up for Story A Day September. So stay tuned, make sure you're on the mailing list. I will tell you as much of that stuff as I can. And if you have any questions, just you can email me at julie@storyaday.org or come and leave a comment or question on the blog. Meanwhile, I will remind you that the whole Writer Code series, which helps you wrestle with this question of who do you think you are and how do you allow yourself to be a writer, how do you begin to practice being a writer, this whole 4-part masterclass is available this week only. And if you come over to storyaday.org, you will find information about that there, and you can watch it all, or if you're on the mailing list, I'll send you information about it. That's what I have for you this week. This time next week, we will be in the midst of writing Story A Day September with prompts from people like Roxanne Gay, Deisha Filio, Michael X. Wang, A.T. Greenblatt, Fran Wild, all kinds of wonderful prompts. There's one about a llama. You really want to sign up and make sure you're part of this. I will be in your inbox soon, and have a great rest of your August, and I will see you in September. Thanks for listening. Why not come over to the blog at storyaday.org and check out this week's writing prompts and articles. And in the meantime, have a great creative week, and of course, keep writing.